Hey friends, and welcome back if you have been here before. Today's video is a fun one. It is another one of the DIY Mommies challenges on YouTube, and this month we are doing an organizational challenge. So I am making this quilted hanging organizer for my kids' craft and art supplies. So this is a cabinet in my kitchen, as you can tell, and I'm just measuring and figuring out what kind of design I want it to have. I think I've decided on my plan. I'm going to do a big pouch at the bottom for coloring books and bigger things, and then in the middle I'll do two smaller pouches like right beside each other, like a divided big pouch for crayons and stuff, and then the top is going to be clear vinyl pouches. I don't know what for, scissors when they get older maybe, but yeah, I want this to grow with them and be something that they will go to like every single day. The neat freak in me, like the OCD crazy person in me, hates this and I dread the day when they can, like, when they're able to have scissors and glue on their own and cut and glue things, because I don't want that mess, but you know, as mothers we have to do this. So yeah, I think I have the plan finalized. Now I'm just gonna gather all my materials and get this going. So if you're not familiar with Christina from the DIY Mommy, she does a challenge every few months on YouTube, and it just gathers a bunch of YouTubers together to create similar, actually they don't even have to be similar. She puts out a theme and we all create a video related to that theme, and then we link them all in a playlist. So I will have that playlist linked for you down in the description box below. So once I had my design finalized, I went ahead and cut some pieces of the main fabric. I cut a front and a back, and I cut them larger than I wanted the hanging organizer to be. By no means a quilting expert. I actually do not enjoy quilting. I have learned a few things through my trial and error. One of them being that things shrink up when you quilt them together. So you want to make sure that you cut your pieces bigger than you need. And then I just laid the bottom piece down, or one piece down, wrong side up, and I am using just some scrap fleece from my stash to quilt it with. So I pieced that all together, and then I laid the other piece on top, wrong side down, so it's like a sandwich, and then I pinned it all together. You want to use lots and lots of pins so that nothing comes apart here. And then I just decided to kind of do a crazy winging it kind of design. There was no rhyme or reason to it, and here's what it turned out like after it was all quilted together. And it was a good thing I made it bigger, because I end up using every last piece to make this organizer. So then I just cut it down to the exact size I wanted, and then I ran some basting stitches around. Okay, so I have everything quilted as you saw. Now I'm just gonna kind of lay things out, make sure that my design, what I wanted to do, is in fact what I wanted to do. Right now here I'm just lining everything up and making sure it's going to work the way I want it to. In the end you'll see I made quite a few changes from my original plan, but I'll address the things I would do differently next time at the end of this video. So you can see I'm using cardboard here for the bottoms of the two bigger pouches, and I would recommend doing this or cardboard or like a chipboard type thing in the front. So you can see that I'm going to have one pouch about an inch from the bottom, the next pouch is 14 inches from the bottom, and then vinyl up at the top. Here I have a piece, it's the width of the fabric by about 7 inches, and then I have it folded in half, wrong sides together. First what I did was I took my pouch pieces and I lined them up here, and I made a mark so I know how wide my bottom piece needs to be, and then I centered my cardboard pieces on there because my cardboard is not the exact length, which I think will end up being fine. So I just centered it kind of on there, left and right, and then leaving quite a bit on the top and bottom for seam allowance for attaching to the rest of the pieces. I just traced that, and I did both pieces, and you can see there's a gap in the middle here. That's where the two pieces ended. So now I'm just going to sew along the long sides on both of these pieces, about maybe 1/8 of an inch or even less than that on the outside edge of these lines, so that I can still slide this in and it's not super tight. So now I'm just cutting out all my pieces and I'm making the sides little wedges so that they kind of go out on a diagonal like a mail holder would be. And I also cut out these little pieces for the middle pouch that I want to be the dividers, and I'll tell you more about them now. The first thing I did was I made a mark 1/2 inch from the bottom all the way along, and I stitched that. And I wouldn't recommend stitching that yet because I did have to seam rip, which, I mean, it wasn't a big deal. And then I did a 1/2 inch from this side, measured over 2 inches, made a mark there, stitched these two, making sure to stop at this bottom stitch line. Picked wherever I had to make the tabs open. I see I missed some here from the quilting, so I will have to open that up. But now I have tabs so that I can secure it neatly to the other pieces. So I'm just going to finish that, and then I'm going to work on the vinyl, and then I think all the pieces will be ready to put together. So here are all the pieces except for a couple not shown. There's the main piece, the vinyl piece, and then each pouch has a front, a bottom, and the 2 sides. And not shown here are the divider pieces and the bias binding that you'll see me make now. And this is actually grain line binding, not bias binding, because I just was working with scraps. So now I'm going to bias bind the divider pieces, the 2 front pouch pieces, and all 4 side pouch pieces. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add the bias tape to the tops of some of my pieces here. Do want to mention the divider pieces. If you are doing divider pieces, make sure you stop sewing before the adjoining seam piece, because we want it to still be able to open up. Those basting stitches that we put all the way around to keep things together, if they show under your bias tape, just go ahead and seam rip them out. I have my bias binding done on the tops pieces that I wanted to do. Now I'm going to make the pouches, so I'm going to connect the sides and the bottom. So the only thing quickly that I want to mention is that these side pieces, the angled ones, you want to make sure that the straight part is to the back panel and the angle part is to the front pouch piece. These we are actually sewing right sides together for the first time in this whole project, and then it's gonna flip around and that'll be hidden, and we're also gonna sew the bottom on right sides together. Okay, so now I have the pouches constructed, save for the sides here, and you can see here these raw edges on the inside. So one of the things that I would change for next time is I would bias bind all of the raw seams. I don't think it's gonna cause an issue, but it just doesn't look totally finished off. If you look inside, you can't tell from the outside. What I did here was just lay the flaps down, stitch down one side, fold it over, and stitch the other side. It ended up being really easy. And then the next thing I was gonna do was trim off the excess here from the bottom. Remember, we left a lot of excess there to be able to sew them together easily, and you want to make sure you're sewing really close to that cardboard too, just to get the right size. Next thing I'm going to do now is finish constructing the sides here, and you'll kind of box the corners. I'm just going to sew this with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and we will have our other corner. The trickiest part is getting into the corner here, but I believe in you. You can do it. We're done the pouches. We are coming along very nicely. I am happy with the progress, and now it is time to make supper. I did not get done today, so we will pick up tomorrow and continue on. If you've watched this far, give this video a thumbs up. All the pieces are ready to be put on. It is just a matter of actually putting them on, so it shouldn't take too much longer. I just have to connect the 2 pouches and the vinyl and make the dividers, and then do the bias all around and then sew it down. So I ended up moving this down to 1 inch from the bottom. So I just measured 1 inch up from the bottom and made a line across, and then I pinned the bottom pouch on the right side of the bottom against that line, and then the middle pouch I did the same thing. I made it 14 inches from the bottom. So for the vinyl, let me see it here. I just kind of eyeballed it where I wanted it to be, as you saw. And then I made a mark, measured, it was 7 3/4 inches from the top. And then I just put my vinyl about a 1/2 inch past that. And I'm gonna stitch right along the line, and then it'll flip up and be a pouch. Okay, so here it is now all pinned together. You can see I am concerned about the gaping here, so I did take it in quite a bit, and in the end I could have taken it in all the way and not even had the side pieces on the bottom pouch there just because it was so big. And you will see at the end of the video how I remedied this problem. One thing I haven't mentioned is that I did sew the bottom of the flaps right through the cardboard, and it was no concern at all. Yes, you guys, my bedroom is an absolute disaster right now. This is what happens when you sew out of your bedroom. Give this video a thumbs up if you would like to see a cleaning my sewing space video. Okay, so I have the side sewn on. I've already trimmed this side. I think this pouch is still gonna gape a bit, but I'm hoping once there's weight in it that it isn't too bad. In the middle, of course, will be fine because it has these pockets. So next, you just go ahead and trim all the sides off so we can put our bias tape on. And I just want to take a break here and quickly tell you about a giveaway I'm doing with another Calgary business, sewyyc. If you are an avid garment sewist, you may know about sewyyc. They print large scale PDF patterns for you, and the giveaway is a $50 credit to their printing shop, and I will leave the link below on how you can get entered into that. You do need to be subscribed, so hit that button right now and you'll be ahead of the game. So again, I am no expert on bias binding, but this actually turned out pretty good. So you just need to make sure you're sewing close to the edge, but also catching that back piece as well. Divide this vinyl pocket up and just do some straight stitches. For that, I need to hand sew on these pieces. I don't think I can get that in my machine, so I'm gonna hand sew those on. And then I just have to add some sort of hanging holes, and then it's done. And here it is, all done. You can see there is gaping there at the bottom, and again, I will show you how I fix that in a little bit here. Overall, I am pretty happy with how this turned out. You will see me filling this up, and very shortly after I finished filming this, my kids already had everything out all over the living room. So just a quick look at the before again, and then here is the after with it all filled up. And next time I would definitely do a divider on the bottom as well, I think, or you could totally take out those side panels and just have it like a flat pouch. My solution in the end was to do a little tack stitch at the top of the front panel, kind of in the bias binding, and then it held up really well, and you'll be able to see that right away here. But yeah, if this was helpful for you, please leave me a comment down below and let me know if you plan to do something similar and what you will use your organizer for. One other thing I didn't address is that I did use grommets for this, and I didn't go through that because I do have a video on how to install grommets, and I will also link that below. And here you can see how it turned out once I added that little tack stitch in there as well. Thanks for watching. Make sure to check out some of the other videos on the playlist that I will link below, and don't forget to get entered into that $50 sewyyc giveaway, which will also be linked below. Catch you in the next one. Bye!